Hey guys, it's me again. This is a quick follow-up to yesterday's video. There's the video in question, now embedded in Jupyter Notebook. So you can do that, you can play it. I'm on my local device though, so everything shows up. But what about sharing? So like if I take this Jupyter Notebook and push it out to GitHub, which is where you could see it, and if you go to GitHub, here's about generators and stuff. Very cool Python, the language Python. And if you didn't watch that video of yesterday, I highly recommend it. Let's go to GitHub. I'm going to show you how to get around this YouTube issue. Because if you go and look at the same notebook in this public repo, you will see it, and most of it's going to be there. And this is a fine way. Entire textbooks are published this way. Jake Vanderplas, lots of data science going on out here in GitHub. It's a great platform for that. But if I do the NB Viewer view, which I can get to by clicking this button, then I'm going to be looking at, I don't know why that one's hanging out at the top. It's centered there, but there's the YouTube. So I can share publicly this URL, the one you're looking at, and they can see everything, including the YouTube. So what did I add since last time? You might remember, I wanted a higher precision volume than just the floating points. And it's really kind of mystifying why we have this problem, because if you have an all integer determinant, you would get a determinant answer. So I'm dividing by 4 there. But why do I have these crazy floating points in all my numpy answers? Well, because they do a different algorithm that involves some division that speeds things up a lot. So yeah, we fall into floating point, get some tiny inaccuracies. Now there's a small, I'd say, clique of mathematicians who are willing to think about what's cultural about mathematics. In other words, what's not sort of a priori that, logic dictates, blah, blah. There's a lot of danger of fascism when it comes to math, because you confuse your culture's zealotry for a particular way of thinking with the way it has to be, right? Oh, there's Daniel. Daniel's working on a parallel channel to this. I invite you to go subscribe. In terms of people doing synergetics, there aren't a lot, and nor are there very many people who are looking into the ethics of why there aren't a lot. And I think, we're trying to grapple with that. What was Bucky's problem? Why was it? What did Bucky do wrong that none of us know any synergetics right now, even though it's so easy? Same with the supergrid, right? Here's a video from Bloomberg talking about how we need a global grid because climate change, because this, because that, all this promising stuff. It starts to teach the basics as well, just like Martian math, right? We phase over to hydroelectric dams and stuff. There's some high voltage lines planned and existing, but they make it all about Chinese plans, right? Which sounds ominous, Americans are going to fight it. But it's like, what about Bucky? All I have to do is type in Dymaxion World Grid and into images, into DuckDuckGo, and it's everywhere. It's like, isn't there enough cultural literacy at this point to mention Bucky overtly? And I think that's the big question right now. And I think the mathematical conversation needs to happen so that we can figure out what do we get to sweep under the rug and what do we have to talk about just to keep the narrative from leaking too badly, leaking sense, right? How do we keep the sense? That's what this is about.